Hi, my lovelies. I thought that since I'm walking home, I will make a video for you guys because my life is very busy and it seems like I just don't have the time anymore to make videos for you guys. So, multitasking, that's what I'm doing. Yes, this night I just finished my last, the light, wait. Sorry, I had to make the light. I just finished my last class for my university class. They had finals today, so it was my discussion class. Usually in my discussion class, I try to make it where my students speak as much as possible and I speak as little as possible. I try to teach the first half and then give them the last half to practice what I just taught them. So if it's presentations that I taught them how to present, I will give them homework saying you have to do this, fill out this research paper, and then they come the next day after I teach how to present, they present it. So pretty much how I go. But that's not why I came on here to talk to you guys. I came on here to talk to you guys about working in being a teacher, period, in anything. If you're a tutor or if you are a ESL teacher, foreign teacher, you're a native teacher, any kind of teacher, these things that you should keep in mind is going to help you. So there was this lady who has been teaching for like 20 something years, and she has said some things that opened my eyes to reality. And I 100% agree with her on this one thing that she said. So she said, what works with your first class, what thing you did with your first class that was successful will not always be successful with your next batch of children. I 100% agree with that. For example, Purple Class, that was the name of my previous class that I had. They were roughly the same age of these kids that now their level kind of higher than the kids I have now, even though the kids I have now are in a higher grade than them. But anyways, Purple Class stayed in their seats. I did the pumpkin seed thing with them and it worked with them. Very little did I have to tell them to sit their butts down. Very little did I want to go sit down. So it was good. I tried the pumpkin seed with my students now, and it got to be too much to the point that I was just like, I had to take it away. So my students now, as I told you, I have one kid who just refuses to sit down. He literally would sit down for a second. Next thing you know, he's standing up again. I don't know. This kid just refuses to sit down. I've gotten to the point where I don't do the pumpkin seed anymore. It doesn't work. Also, I was so busy that I was forgetting to put their pumpkin seeds in their chair and then move it on up to the next pumpkin. Last semester, I had the same schedule as I have now, but I remember to do the pumpkin seed, so I don't know why I forget now. But I forget now, so I just took it away and just let him stand. He doesn't block any of the other students' view, but he stands. Lately, I've noticed that we're gonna call her active. One of the other active students have noticed that I let him stand in class and that very little do I tell him to sit down, and has started copying him. So I didn't mind that. You know, my rule is if you stay by your chair, your desk, and you do your work and you're not blocking anybody, you're not walking around the classroom, I don't care that you stand up and do your work. I don't care. She walks around the classroom. She gets up, she walks around the classroom. She's testing the waters. And every time she tests it, I'm like, sit down, you know better. But in a nice way. I'm like, come on, don't test me. You know you're not supposed to be walking around. Why are you walking around? Go back to your seat, sit down. You're gonna lose a sticker because you know you're not supposed to be out of your seat. You know you're not supposed to be walking around, especially if I'm teaching. You know you're supposed to stay in your seat, you lose a sticker. So for her, she loses a sticker. She tests the water and she tests the water in the wrong way. This other student, he refuses to just, sit down, and that's okay. So each class is different. They're all going to receive information differently. How I teach my last set of students is not how I teach these students. These students, I literally have to just, we have to work together, because I have one student who writes extremely slow, and I have to basically punish the whole class because of her. So you're like, oh, that's not fair. She writes slow. Why are you punishing her? No. It's not intentional. She writes slow, and then she'll literally put her pencil down and just stare to waste time. Normally, if we don't have a lot to do that day, I don't care. I'll sit and wait for her and let the other kids play. But then I noticed she was watching the other kids play, and she was not doing her work, and she was just really not trying to work at all. And I'm like, okay, you have to do your work. So what I did was I told everybody else, I said, you can't talk, you can't play, because she's being distracted. So unfortunately, you have to be punished until you have to be punished, and you cannot do anything until she finishes her work. And so if you want to play, you just have to just wait until she finishes, and that's just that. So she realizes that, and then I have to tell her, hey, do you want to do the activity today that we have, the crafting activity? She'd be like, yeah. I'd be like, we can't do it until you finish your work. That motivates her to work. But usually what I do if we run out of time is that I have to write on the board what pages and what she didn't finish, and then I just have to go on to something else. And when we have time in the day or the next day or some day we have extra time, I let everybody else have free time and make her sit down and finish what she didn't finish in the previous books. Sometimes it's multiple books. Sometimes, only one time we didn't have extra time in the day to finish it, and she had to finish work another day. Like, not another day, days later, like literally weeks later, until we found extra time. So that was fun. Another thing is, if you have a lot of time, some classes you will have a lot of time, some classes you will not have a lot of time. So I've noticed that to get a lot of time in my classes, that if I don't have a lot of time, if it goes by too fast, we need to do the work together. And when we do the work together, the time, I'm not cramming everything into one thing. I'm not cramming everything into one lesson. I'm not trying to cram or rush them to complete their work. When we work together, when I ask them the questions and I write the sentences for them, I know it's kind of cheating, but we don't have the time. So this is how I do it. If we have to write and they have to brainstorm, I will ask them the questions. I would say, hey, what are the rules for a thunderstorm? This is just an example. What are the rules to protect yourself from a thunderstorm? Open your books, look at your books, find the rules. And of course, they're not going to say it with perfect English. So I will write it in perfect English for them. And I will repeat it. I will be like, okay. They'll be like, go. They'll be like, indoors, get down. I'll say, okay, go. You should go indoors, and you should get down under a table. And then they're not supposed to write until we all have finished everything. Because right now we're working together. So I want them focused. I want them thinking. I want them paying attention to me and the English that they're supposed to be learning, rather than copying. Then once we have finished the whole page, then they can write it. And when everybody finished writing, we go to the next page and we work together using the same tactics. I've learned that is the only way to go when I try to explain things and let them be creative and use their own brains. It didn't work. Some kids cry because they're not creative. Some kids, they will get discouraged because they can't think of anything to think of. And then some kids would just sit there because they don't know what to write, or they don't know what to do, or they don't understand. So I found that it's easier to just work together than to try to, I would spend more time trying to figure out how to explain everything to them. And even if you explain it to them in their language, some magical way, they still don't understand. So I found it easier, simpler to just work together. One class, I don't have to work together. I could just tell them what to do and say, go. And they could do it. They could start. Another class, I cannot. We have to work together. So all classes will be different. You just have to figure out, fill out your classes and do what's best for your classes. Some classes you may have to start off together and then let them finish by themselves. Usually with some classes, we will work together, and then I'd be like, okay, the last question or the last 2 questions, you figure it out. I would do that to them. So it's just all depending on your class. Next thing, kids will rush through everything. They want to rush through everything. I had to tell one student, I said, rushing through it, I'm just going to find you more work. You're never going to not have work. So rushing to finish, don't do it. Because number one, if it's sloppy, I'm going to make you redo it. Number two, until it's time to go, you're going to work. You're going to do work because that is what I'm getting paid to do. That is my job. That's what I'm supposed to do. We're not going to play. We never play, okay? Any activity we do, if it's a fun playing activity that you think is fun, it is a learning activity. So we're never going to play. That's the point of it. So don't rush through it. Don't rush. You're not going to have sloppy handwriting and everything. I will read it. And one kid, she literally will rush, look at the board and just write on her paper and not look at her book. And I would read her book and she would have misspelled words. And I was like, how are you misspelled? Because I literally have it spelled correctly on the board. How? How? Explain this to me. So then I was like, I erased all of it. It'll be a page full of words. Erase all of it and be like, rewrite it. Or I erase a section and be like, rewrite it. And then when she's finished rewriting that section nicely, I erase another section and be like, this section's messy too. Rewrite it. We're going to do this until you learn that rushing is not the answer. Sometimes I have to tell her before she writes, don't rush. Don't rush. That's not the point. You will always have something to do in class. Don't rush to finish. Take your time, write neatly, look at the board, look at the book when you copy. Another thing is a dictionary method that I use. It's called the 4 B's. I get this method from another teacher who has been teaching for 20 years, and I follow her on Instagram. I use this method because she uses this method, and it worked with one class, but another class we just don't have time to do it. With the same class that it worked with, the next year they got to go into a bigger book, so it just didn't work because we just didn't have time for the kids to get the dictionary and look up words. So literally I would have to be like, okay, I'm gonna help you with your spelling this time, and I'll go to the page in the dictionary for them to help them find the word or go in the section, and then they will have to find the word themselves. It's dark, so I'm going to pause it. Okay, so I'm home now, but yes, that's just something that those are a few things that I learned. I've learned a lot more, but I'm going to stop it right there because this is going to be almost a 15-minute long video. So I'm stopping it right there. Okay, until next time, my lovelies.